heroes at Zero Res to get things in order before your friends and family come over to celebrate. Every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from hardwood, carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, and more, so you don't have to worry about your friends and family plopping down on a nasty couch. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google with over 21,000 reviews, so go ahead and get clean. And don't miss this month's deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet starting at just $139 and $50 off an air duct cleaning. You just need to call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, clearing skies with a high of 53, then tonight clear with a low of 38. Heat up these cold nights with the hottest musical acts around at Crooner's Supper Club. Crooner's is located just north of I-694 off Highway 65 and Moore Lake Drive. Visit croonersmn.com to view their schedules and food menus. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living Healthy and Aging Well. My name is Ken Haglund, and we are broadcasting from the AM 950 radio station that overlooks beautiful Bryant Lake Regional Park, located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. It is another gorgeous day here in the Twin Cities, and I am so grateful to be here with you today. And I hope all of you listening are doing well. We are on the air every Saturday from noon to 1 to talk about your health and your life. We cover a wide range of topics to help you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in a few minutes will be Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. She is going to share education and resources on caring for someone living with dementia. Learning to think dementia can help you understand what is happening in the brain, improving your relationship with the person you are caring for, and reducing caregiver stress. Amy has information on the free Medicare Guide program that can support the family through the dementia journey, multiple support groups that she facilitates, and resources available regarding dementia-friendly travel. Amy is a licensed assisted living director in Minnesota. Her podcast focuses on caregiver questions. So please call in today and ask Amy about your questions about dementia, cares, and challenges at home or in a memory care, and we'll learn how to think dementia together. You'll enjoy listening to my conversation today with Amy House. I want to thank all of you that leave us messages on our radio show phone line. We appreciate hearing from you, and we welcome your comments, questions, and topics for future shows. Also, if you are interested in being a guest on our radio show, please call or text us at 612-999-3426. You can also contact us on our website at livinghealthyradio.com. There you can find information about upcoming guests as well as listen to our previous shows, and we look forward to hearing from you. We are adding new listeners to the show each week, not only here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, but also throughout the country. You can find podcasts for all of our radio shows on the AM 950 radio website. And we can also be found on your favorite streaming service, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many others. You can also watch our broadcast live on the radio station's Facebook page at AM 950 Radio. If you have a question today, there's two ways to reach us. First, by calling the AM 950 radio station, and our friendly show producer, Patrick, will get your call on the air. Our phone number is 952-946-6205. Once again, 952-946-6205. Or you can directly text us your questions at 612-999-3426. Now, don't worry. If you missed our contact numbers, I'll repeat them throughout the show. All right. I want to welcome my guest for today's show, Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you so much, Ken. And thank you for all that you do for Minnesota Hospice and your patients and their families.
Oh, well, listen, it is our pleasure. In fact, I had conversations this week with several of our colleagues, and it's the joy we get from doing this work. And I tell you, it's tough because people say, I don't know how you could do that, or I could never do that. And I said, well, if you have a calling for it, it brings you more joy than you'll ever experience.
Absolutely.
So, and I know you feel the same way about the work that you do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, first of all, the audience loves to learn a little bit about the guest on our show.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about your background, kind of, where you've been in life, and then, what inspired you to end up here at the radio station on our show.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in central Minnesota, northeast of St. Cloud, in a little area of Royalton, Piers, Minnesota. My mom was a registered nurse, and she worked in different areas of healthcare, but did settle into a lot of work with seniors at some point. And one day when I was 15, she came over to me and said, I signed you up for a CNA course. Those residents at the nursing home are going to love you. And I thought, what is a CNA?
What is a CNA?
Certified Nursing Assistant. I had no idea what I was signing up for, what I was going to do, but I really enjoyed the class. I had a very inspirational teacher who just talked us about compassion and just thinking about the person all the time and what they would want, what you would want, and just really always reassuring somebody, because they're very frequently scared when you're caring for someone. And so I absolutely loved it. And the moment I turned 16 and legal to work as an aide, I started. And I did that for 10 years, in and out through college, and always enjoyed working with seniors. But I really loved working in the memory care, or sometimes back then they wouldn't have a memory care, but they'd have a certain floor or something that were dedicated to people living with dementia. I had a knack for it right away. And so that, led me into a lot of different areas. I did some emergency medicine. I was a paramedic, and I did disability services as well. But I kept saying, I need to get back to working with seniors. I miss it so much. And I think after kind of my grandparents and stuff, some people were passing away in my life that I enjoyed spending time with. I thought, I've got to get back to working with seniors. So I took a course with Teepa Snow.
Okay.
Many people know Teepa Snow from Positive Approach to Care.
Yep.
And Teepa was just so inspirational. And I became certified by her to be a trainer and be able to train people on her methods and her materials, and started doing public speaking and education about dementia. And then I was just hooked on all of that. I worked in senior living. Then I worked in a couple different places for assisted living and memory care. Most recently for 6 years as a director of a memory care in New Brighton. And then also I oversaw all the memory cares for the company in the Twin Cities here, and supported all of them with training and resources and ideas. And I just love problem solving. I love coming up with ideas on how to help somebody living with dementia, whatever it is that we have to communicate to them or how we have to understand them. I really enjoy it. Then a few years ago, after all this public speaking and training that I do, and all the families that come to me with questions, every time I would do a presentation, I'd stay after until every last question was answered. Yeah. And when somebody would ask a question that's like way off the topic that we're discussing, I'd think, oh, that's a great question.
Right.
Everybody here needs to know that. They just don't know it yet.
Right.
But that's something that everybody needs to know. So I finally kind of one winter said, I'm going to start a podcast. And I started Think Dementia. While I was trying to figure out what to name my podcast, I was just racking my brain and thinking about, if love was enough, If love was enough, if as a caregiver, when you're caring for somebody with dementia, if it was just enough to love them, oh, being a caregiver would be a piece of cake, right? We
Right.
would just all, it would be so easy to care for somebody through dementia. But it's not a disease of the heart, it is a disease of the brain.
Right.
And so, really, what you have to do is think about what's going on in the brain, understand why people are doing what they're doing, and how you can adapt. And so, that's where I came up with Think Dementia. If you think dementia, you're going to really know why this person is doing these things and realize it's not their fault. They're not trying to be manipulative. They're not trying to be difficult. They are always just doing the best they can with a brain that has had a lot of changes. And so, as caregivers, we have to adapt.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think today it's so important that people have tools. You think about when a newborn,
Hmm.
and again, if love was enough, right,
Yes.
it'd be no problem. But
Mhm.
there's so many things that you have to understand what's going on with a newborn. And I always talk about how we birth people in and we
Mhm.
birth people out.
Yep.
And there's so much parallels there. I think the more that we have people like you helping educate society, it's great because it just takes all the pressure off then in a sense, because now you have tools and then you understand. I think it's that understanding as to what's going on because you've known this person for your whole life sometimes, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And so you're so used to how they've been for your whole life. Now all of a sudden they're changing, and it can be very frustrating. I know we take care of a lot of dementia patients, and I know caregivers will say it's just frustrating. I don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, there's no manual.
right. Well, and you're kind of creating one audibly on your podcast. So I mean that's why I wanted to have you on the show when I heard about you, and this is gonna be great. I think the amount of the tips and ideas that you can help share during this show here today will be so helpful for many people, and then they just don't know there's resources out there.
Mhm.
And like we talked before the show started, people just don't know that hospice care is a statutory benefit.
Yeah.
If you're eligible for Medicare, you get this typically for no cost to you or your family. So
Mhm.
it's important that people know that they have resources and there's places to turn. And you have a great podcast that they can listen to, and again, people write questions, or can they ask questions on when you have them live, or
Yeah.
how do you get feedback to people? Because we have that here as well. People
Mhm.
write in, they have questions, then you kind of feed that back.
Yeah. So individuals will email me questions.
Sure.
I also have on my website where you can record a question. You can do an audio recording of your question.
Oh,
And
sure.
so then I can play it on the podcast episode. A lot of times I'm at different conferences for caregivers or different educational events, and somebody will ask me something, and I'll say, "Oh, great! Can I record that? Can we just ask that again? Because everybody has that question; they don't know it yet."
Right.
And it's been just wonderful to get so many questions.
All right. Well, we'll be right back. It's time for a short break, Amy. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. And she is sharing education and resources on caring for someone living with dementia. If you have a question for Amy, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you're listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
You have a loved one who is not receiving the care that they deserve at their current memory care facility. I'm Aiden Helene, Director of Community Relations here at the Welshire, and I meet with families every single day who are struggling with poor staffing, missed medications, poor personal cares, and an absence of engagement from consistent activities. 85% of our residents at the Welshire are coming from other memory care facilities that could not meet their care needs. Not all memory care is created equally. And if this is something your family is experiencing, I encourage you to come visit our community of well-being and see the Welshire difference, where we promise that your loved one will live with pride and dignity. The Welshire has 24/7 nursing, a robust activities team that provides activities 7 days a week. And when the diagnosis takes a 9-to-5 approach, so will we. Book a tour at welshiremn.com and see our community of well-being in action. That's welshiremn.com. Again, that's WellshireMN.com.
In these chaotic times, we need a new word for the fourth quarter. Times are just too dark for a Black Friday. As the uber rich tear down the foundations of American democracy and the forces of big government, big business, big tech, big military industrial complex, and AI all unite to dominate even more, it's time for us to declare a soliday. Solidarity and holiday. Let's experience Soliday. When you buy Nicolette's Macaroons, Ferndale Turkey, tickets from an AM 950 theater or restaurant partner, take a ride on the Minneapolis Trolley, visit Hypercharge clinics, buy from Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, shop at Shanghai Market, or patronize any of our great advertisers, you're doing more than being a consumer. You're part of the Soliday movement. Let's Soliday. If you have thoughts on potential partners or your business organization would like to connect, reach out to me, Laura at am950radio.com. That's Laura at am950radio.com. Happy Soliday. United we stand. Solidarity forever.
The independently owned Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for your next book. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations no matter your age or taste. Plus, they have frequent events including book readings and meet and greets with authors. And they sell more than just books. They have a wide variety of puzzles and games, too. So stop in and browse the store off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Mavericks Real Roast Beef. Mavericks has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh, every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Mavericks Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. Amy is sharing education and resources on caring for someone living with dementia. Amy, how can our listeners contact you and your organization if they have questions or want more information?
Sure. I have a website, which is think-dementia.com. There's a way to contact me on the page there, or you can always just email me directly at Amy, A-M-Y, at think-dementia.com. And I'm happy to call you back. And I always say I will give anybody 30 minutes of my time, even if you're not going to be, excuse me, a patient with me, even if you're not going to have me come do a talk with you. I mean, just tell me about your situation because I probably have a handful of ideas for you. And I love that. I love having solutions to issues that people are having. It doesn't have to be so difficult. For example, incontinence care. Oh my goodness, I'm so passionate about incontinence care. I just think about all the things a busy caregiver is doing. You don't need to be doing laundry all the time. Let's take that off your list. And first, let's look at the products they're using. Let's talk about toileting schedules. What are we doing to protect all the furniture and everything in your house? How do we understand what's happening and why they're having incontinence? All of these questions I love to answer and just take a problem and say, here, let's figure it out. You know, I get messages too, like my husband is urinating in the corner of our bedroom. What do I do? I'm like, well, yep, I've dealt with that many times in a memory care. I've had somebody who, they're just waking up. The first thing they do is they go to the garbage can or to a corner somewhere. And it's just natural. You know, when you don't know where to go and you got to go, that's what happens. And I will look at those situations and say, okay, what can we do? Let's put some Christmas lights around the door to the bathroom. Make it like super obvious that this is the direction you should go and help with some wayfinding. I'll say, where do they usually go? Yeah. Let's put a big garbage can there with a plastic bag. And so if they do go in there, it's easy to clean up and not a big deal. What kind of products are they wearing at night? Just there's so many things I've discovered, especially being a director of memory care, when I start asking questions of the staff. What's been difficult, or who's up at night? What's going on with that? And so all of these stories that I tell on my podcast really are relatable to so many people, and I hear that a lot, which is just, it just warms my soul. It's just the best part of it. Um, I have also available with Think Dementia, aside from my podcast, I do 4 support groups. I do 3 support groups for the Alzheimer's Association that I've been doing for years. One is in person in New Brighton, Minnesota. One is an evening virtual one that is easy to go. You can join from anywhere with that one, the evening one. And then I just piloted a little bit last year a couples support group. And wonderful gentleman who inspired me to do this, he said, I don't feel like a support group is what I need. I'm not caring for my wife right now. She's able to care for herself, but yet I'm having a lot of frustrations, and it is really difficult sometimes. So we made a group with couples that get to meet other couples. It's virtual, and it has been so amazing to listen to them talk about things. Each of them talk through getting a diagnosis, how they felt. Some of the couples have said, we've never talked about this before. I never asked my spouse with dementia how they felt about getting a diagnosis. And so it just brings everybody closer together, and it just helps so much to know that somebody else is in the same boat.
I tell you, throughout the years of doing the show, it always comes down to people think they're the only ones.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing?
Mhm.
I don't know what that is, but through all walks of life.
Mhm.
And that's why when people finally get connected, and it's now you can do it virtually. It doesn't have to be in person. But I tell you, it just gives people so much comfort to know I'm not the only one.
Absolutely. And support groups, I think they get a bad rap because people say, I don't want to go and cry or be around a bunch of people telling me horrible stuff. And it's not that way. We
Right.
laugh in our support groups. We support each other. We're cracking jokes all the time. Yeah, there's times where we're all going to tear up because somebody's going through something and we're just listening. But even going to a support group one time can make a huge difference. I met 2 sisters that came to one of my groups, and they just were there that one time, but there happened to be a member of the group who they just lost their mother. And so they came in that night and they told the story about it, and they just told how different somebody is at the end of dementia, and they just said, you do not want to see your loved one die of dementia. And so that family really heard that. It really echoed with them, and their mother, who was not any, probably early mid-stage dementia, she had some sort of medical emergency. They had to decide what to do, and they decided to not treat it and keep her comfortable, knowing
Yeah.
what was ahead with
Yeah.
dementia, and that she wouldn't want to live that way. And also that, we just don't have to try to keep them alive to keep them alive. Let's look at quality of life and what they would have wanted. So just coming to that one show, or so that one support group, just
Yeah.
really completely changed that family's life. I mean, what they were going to do for their mother. And they wrote to me and said it was just, they're so glad they came and got that little bit of information, and what a difference it made.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Again, that's where people having gone down the path ahead of you, you get a chance to look ahead
Mhm.
and then talk to them and say, well, what were the things that you thought what did you go through with that decision making process? So no, I think we find that just so helpful,
Mhm.
especially in even anticipatory grief before a person does pass, but certainly after a person passes, a loved one passes, and we have people that get together and yeah, we've got support groups that we have to turn people away because it's amazing how there's such a need
Mhm.
in the whole aspect of life and death.
And I do remember that my dad passed away when he was young. He was 54. And I just remember clinging to a few other young people in my life who had lost a parent, because I just knew that they knew what I was feeling.
Right.
And that is all the difference right there. You can tell and talk to your family and friends about caregiving, but unless they've been through it,
Right.
unless they're really sleeping with one eye open all the time and know what it's like and how exhausting it can be and how lonely it can be, they don't get it. And I really do want to do a lot to change the stigma of dementia, because it is one of those diseases that people walk away from. I don't mean to call them out on it, but sometimes I will be at like a presentation and I'll say to people, seniors at an independent living, I'll say, what do you do if one of you gets a cancer diagnosis? And they'll say, oh, I'll drive them to appointments and I'll take them some cookies. I'll help them, with their appointments. They'll do so many different things, but then I'll say, what do you do when someone has dementia? Crickets.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk more about that at the next segment. All right, the music's cueing us out here. It's time to take a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. Amy's here sharing education and resources and hopefully some stories on caring for someone living with dementia. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
In these chaotic times, we need a new word for the fourth quarter. Times are just too dark for a Black Friday. As the uber rich tear down the foundations of American democracy and the forces of big government, big business, big tech, big military industrial complex, and AI all unite to dominate even more, it's time for us to declare a Soliday. Solidarity and holiday. Let's experience Soliday. When you buy Nicolette's Macaroons, Ferndale Turkey, tickets from an AM 950 theater or restaurant partner, take a ride on the Minneapolis Trolley, visit Hypercharge clinics, buy from Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, shop at Shanghai Market, or patronize any of our great advertisers, you're doing more than being a consumer. You're part of the Soliday movement. Liz Soliday. If you have thoughts on potential partners or your business or organization would like to connect, reach out to me, Laura at am950radio.com. That's Laura at am950radio.com. Happy Soliday. United we stand. Solidarity forever.
The Thanksgiving Buffet is back at the Park Tavern. Thanksgiving Thursday, November 27th, from 11 to 3, the Park Tavern has its Thanksgiving Day Buffet. Enjoy the all-you-can-eat buffet with all your Thanksgiving favorites for $25.95 per person, $18.95 for 65 and over, and kids 6 to 12, and kids 5 and under are free, and that includes an hour of free bowling. Seatings begin at 11 a.m., and the last seatings are at 2 p.m., and you need reservations. Call 952-929-6810. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, giving thanks this Thanksgiving is simple with help from the Park Tavern.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. Over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, clearing skies with a high of 53, then tonight clear with a low of 38. Time is running out for your chance to see Children's Theater Company's production of Roald Dahl's mischievous tale, The Enormous Crocodile. The show only runs through November 23rd, and tickets are going fast. Get your tickets today at childrenstheater.org. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Saturday.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Haglund, and joining me today is Amy House. She is the owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. And Amy is here sharing education and resources on caring for someone living with dementia. And this is such an important topic as we see really the epidemic of the elderly is dementia. And it's affecting really everybody in America here and across the globe. But anyway, she's here. She's talking about that. Before we get back to our conversation with her, though, I want to mention this radio show is brought to you in part each week by the team at Minnesota Hospice. Minnesota Hospice is an independent, locally owned medical practice serving our Twin Cities communities with comprehensive end-of-life health care. The team at Minnesota Hospice provides patients and family members with award-winning end-of-life healthcare services. You may not be aware that hospice brings compassionate medical, social, emotional, and spiritual services right to your home with typically no cost to you or your family. Please do not wait to learn how hospice care can benefit you and your loved ones. If you have any questions regarding end-of-life care or support, please contact the compassionate team of experts at Minnesota Hospice. They are available to answer your questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with a registered nurse answering the phone. Their phone number is 952-898-1022. Once again, 952-898-1022, or simply visit them online at minnesotahospice.com. All right, let's return to our conversation with Amy House. If you have a question for us, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. Amy, how can our listeners contact you and your organization if they have questions or want more information?
Yes, they can go to my website, think-dementia.com. And, when you're there, you can even send me a question for the podcast, because that's what the podcast is built on. It's caregiver questions, things that I'm hearing from caregivers when I'm out speaking or in the support group, because the question you have, so many people have that question and they just don't know it yet.
Right.
So it really is a way you can go there and you can actually record it, or you can just send me an email with your question and I'll answer it in the podcast. I just love helping in any way I can. And if it helps one person, it probably helps 1,000 people. They just don't know it yet, that's going to be handy one day.
Oh, no. I mean, I get that people will text questions and leave most messages after the show is done, and thinking how many other people had that same question that we could have answered on the air. So
exactly.
So you have a really very interesting thing here. If you go to the podcast menu, drop down menu, you literally can hit a button and it'll record your question that you can then answer on a future podcast. So that's fantastic. A very easy way to do it, because sometimes it's hard for people to navigate with screens and phones and computers and keyboards, and it's tough sometimes to be able to get that. And here it's just hit that big button and record a question for Think Dementia podcast. So
yeah, and if you've never listened to a podcast or you don't know how to, I even have videos hooked up about how to do that on your smartphone. So if you've never ventured into podcasts, I'm telling you, it is so much free, amazing information, interesting things too. I love learning about animals and science and healthcare stuff. So, if you're not sure and you're kind of nervous about it, you can learn how to do it there, or you can listen to my 3 most recent episodes. Those are just something you can click on and listen to on the website.
Yeah. Well, no, and these are great titles here. Should I get my mom a pet? Again, great question. And then the other one here is, does a head injury cause dementia? Again, another great question. And the third one is caregiver stress, delegating to others, and caregiver burnout, which we see all the time. I kind of joke a little bit sometimes. We walk into a home to take care of a patient that qualifies for hospice, and sometimes it's hard to know which one is qualifying for hospice.
Yes,
it breaks your heart, because this little woman has been taking care of this man for years, and she's just exhausted. But again, they're so committed to their loved one, and it's just, they're so relieved when someone can come in and help with that process of taking care, and just education, just to know you're doing a great job, and we're here to help. So I know you feel the same way with with helping people with understanding how that's a long-term commitment.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
take care of someone in dementia.
When I think about walking to a home sometimes too, I thought you were going to say that you can't get inside because one of the spouses is sleeping in front of the door because the other, might wander
Right.
out. And that's literally what I've seen, that they're sleeping in front of the door because they just are worried that their loved one's going to wander out there and they don't have any help and they need, it just, so many people feel so alone as a caregiver, and being a caregiver for someone living with dementia increases your risk of getting dementia. And I really
Really?
stress that with my patients. I'm part of the Medicare Guide program. I'll tell
Yeah,
you about
let's
it in
talk
a
about that.
second.
Yeah.
But yeah, it increases your risk of getting dementia because you're not eating right. You're not taking the time to be hydrated. You're probably taking your loved one to every single appointment for every single scratch they have on them, but you're neglecting your own appointments, your own painful ankle, or those sort of things. The person is isolated. It is so isolating when you're taking care of someone living with dementia. Some of the best advice that I've gotten from a few people who are together in those earlier stages have said, "We are so glad we moved to senior living because we just have a community of people here." And your loved one might be totally fine to spend a couple hours at home by themselves, but now you can just go down the hall and do a yoga class and meet people, and it's just not so isolating because it's
Right.
hard when you can't leave them alone
Right.
for very long or at all.
Well, and you probably know this with your experience in senior living. They have activities directors that's their job, is to help provide stimulation. Even like the people that bring the bikes, the 3-wheel bikes, just to give people a ride outside in the nice weather, just changes their whole perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I just think about a lot of the engagement that people miss out on when they're home alone. And, we're not all activity directors. It's hard. On my website, I do have a list of activity ideas for anybody to do that. Like, you don't have to have any special training. You don't have to be an arts and craft person. These are things that you find around your household. When I was a memory care director, I had people living with dementia in my office all the time. I was the cool one, right? Everybody wants to talk to Amy. I've got something fun to do.
Right.
Or I've got work for you. I always have work to do. And in order to get my job done, I'd have to keep these people busy. Otherwise, I would spend the whole day just helping them and talking to them. If they were busy, I could get my work done. So I would have them sorting papers. I would have them filing. Sometimes it would just be, go through this drawer in my desk and just sort this all out. It's just a mess. And they would just love it. Come with me, walk with me. I need help carrying something. Everybody wants purpose. And
Yes.
so just sitting home alone, not everybody can afford to go to memory care, but that is something that you can do at home. If you look at that list of activities I have, they're just things you can find around the house to keep someone busy.
Yeah. And so where is that on your website? then?
That's under the resources.
Oh, there you go. On the far right-hand side.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great. All right. Fantastic. Well, let's talk about the guide.
Sure. Let me tell you about the Guide program. It is a free Medicare program. It's in its second year, but many people do not know about it, especially in Minnesota. I appreciate being able to talk about it on a radio show. I've been asking for a billboard, but this is even better. The Guide program stands for Guiding an Improved Dementia Experience. And it's really a Medicare funded program for the next 8 years that takes care of the family. So I am meeting monthly as a care navigator for Tembo Health. And Tembo is a telehealth company that helps with dementia care navigation. And families, if they have original Medicare and your loved one has a diagnosis of dementia, you can enroll in this program where I talk with them once a month, either on the phone or a video call. We talk about everything that's going on. We plan for safety things before they happen.
Oh,
We
sure.
talk about, locking up the cleaning chemicals, or, I know that your loved one wouldn't do this now. Like, they'll think, oh, I don't have to lock up the knives. They don't even go in they're not interested in cooking. Well, what if they get a package in the mail and they want to open it up? The reasoning and judgment isn't there for someone living with dementia. So they might just see a big butcher knife and go, okay, I'll use this. And then a slice in their hand. So just preparing and making things safe is part of it. Talking about what the caregiver's going through for stress. I just met with somebody yesterday, and her goal for our next meeting is to tell me about a weekend that she has planned away. I'm like, you and your husband should go somewhere. I don't care if you don't go for 6 months, but knowing that you have a break ahead is key to caregiving. You can make it through if you know that on Saturday morning, they're going to pick Bob up and take him for a drive. I'll have a break then. But when you don't know when your break is, it's just really hard to keep going, and it's hard to be patient. And patience is key with dementia care. So back to the guide program. In addition to talking with a care navigator like myself every month and getting education and resources, you also can qualify for a grant of $2,500 that helps pay for in-home care services. So those are respite services, and respite just means giving the caregiver a break.
Right.
And so, this is a great way to try having someone come out to the home. You might think they would never accept some care from somebody else, or you're not sure what they would do, but you get that break that you need. And this is a way to try it and not have to pay for it. Yeah. So it ends up being about 72 to 80 hours of care. And then the third thing that you get from the Medicare Guide program is 24/7 support. So you can reach somebody and talk through situations that you need. In some of the states that Tembo provides care for, we actually have a 24/7 urgent care where you can talk with an emergency room physician just from your home. And that has been amazing for caregivers to say, wow, it was Labor Day weekend and I didn't have to go to the emergency room for 12 hours. And a doctor talked me through what to do from home. Because the emergency room is not a place for someone with dementia unless they really need it.
Right.
It's so confusing. Where are my clothes? Why am I here? There's nothing wrong with me. Let's get out of here. And so just avoiding the ER is another big part of that program.
Wow. No kidding. So this is something that's available for Minnesota residents?
It's a national program.
National program.
Yep.
It's Medicare.
Medicare, original Medicare.
Yes.
So if you have original Medicare with a supplemental or a Medigap, then you can qualify for this program. And if you go to my website under resources, I have information all about it. There's a flyer there where you can see to go to tembo.health, and then you can see if you qualify. Just do like a 30-minute video call or phone call with us, and we'll check your insurance and talk to you about your situation. And I always say, even if you don't qualify, maybe you find out you don't have the insurance, it's okay, because now you got 25 minutes more with a dementia expert. What do you want to talk about?
Right.
What's going on? What's the challenge? And like I said, I'll talk to anybody for 30 minutes and I probably will help them walk away with a lot of good information.
Well, you've been great here on the show. I'm learning a lot. So this is fantastic. All right, it's time for a short break, folks. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. And Amy's here sharing education and resources on caring for someone living with dementia. If you have a question for Amy, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. I'm Ken Hageland, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Hi, everyone. Even though we're already into 2025, it's always the right time to support AM 950. It's the 2025 AM 950 calendar featuring photos I've taken across Minnesota, plus important dates in both progressive and AM 950 history. All new and current sustaining members will make a recurring donation of $10 to receive a 2025 AM 950 calendar as a thank you. If you make a monthly recurring contribution of $25 or more, you'll receive a thank you of both the AM 950 2025 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book. Make a one-time $30 donation, you'll get a calendar as a thank you. Or make a one-time $100 donation, you'll receive both the AM 950 calendar and a signed Tom Hartman book as a thank you. To become a member, go to our webpage, am950radio.com, and click on the membership button. The website has all the details on the different levels of the 2025 calendar and Tom's book. But be warned, we're starting to run low on the calendars and the signed book thank you. So don't delay. Thank you so much to everyone who supported us for the last 5 years and continue to help keep AM 950 alive, one of the last true progressive radio stations in the country. Thanks for keeping AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. It's been great working with so many of the passionate AM 950 listeners over the years. We have realized how important AM 950 is to the community. I want to see AM 950 continue to grow and continue to thrive into the future. To help continue to grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to do your part by liking and sharing the content on AM 950 social media platforms.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Ryan has always told me the best time to get work done is during the cold colder months of the year because demand is much lower. He is backing that up again by offering 30% off labor on windows and siding from now until the end of December. Call Snap Construction now to get 30% off labor on windows and siding. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Trust the company AM950. Trust Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, and window contractor in the metro area. Get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Hi, I'm Scott Shamblat from Shamblat Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM950. I've been going to Shamblat Family Dentistry for years. They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about helping you and your loved ones improve and enjoy your quality of life. My name is Ken Hageland, and joining me today is Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast. And Amy has been so gracious to be here today with us, sharing education and resources on caring for someone living with dementia. This is a huge area, and it's only going to get more. So as we continue to have the baby boom generation age, and there's just so many more diagnoses for dementia that we're seeing, both in my profession and in yours. So it's really important, folks. If you have a question, please give us a call, 952-946-6205, or text us at 612-999-3426. Amy, how can our listeners contact you and your organization if they have questions or want more information?
Yeah, they can go to my website, think-dementia.com. And I also have a way to contact me in there, or you can email me directly at amy@think-dementia.com.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we got so much more to talk about here, and this is the last segment, so we'll have to have you back on the show to talk about more things here, because there's so much going on in this world, and things are happening so quickly. Even just the resources of the Medicare Guide Dementia program that you talked about, I had no idea that existed. It is new,
yes,
second year, and then you're one of the people that are helping pilot that in here in Minnesota. Do you take calls from other people outside of Minnesota?
Yeah, I actually have patients all over the country. The majority of my patients on my caseload are in Minnesota and Maryland.
Oh, interesting.
And so shout out to everybody in Maryland who might be listening. I have to visit you someday. I love all my people out there.
Right.
But yeah, even though no matter where you are in the country, the same things are going on with dementia with so many caregivers. So
universal.
Yeah, it's just really, really great to meet with them monthly and see progress and change. I've had some people where at the beginning when we started meeting, our first goal was to not get EMS involved. Like, let's not have the police out to the house anymore,
right?
Because that's how much was going on with this gentleman's anger and all sorts of things. And now to hear instead that, like, oh, he and his wife went to a place they used to vacation together and they had a wonderful weekend, and they've been going out to all the fall festivals, and just hearing like how amazing it is. Or that same gentleman, he did not recognize his son who lived in the basement. So every day was a challenge of, why is this man in our house? What is going on? And now, yep, they're a family again. And just trying to tweak a few little things, how about your son goes around to the front door when he comes in? Just go to the front door, knock, ask for permission to come in.
Yeah.
Instead of just popping up from downstairs, here's a stranger in the house.
Right.
So I just love coming up with those ideas to try, and family members who are willing to try something new. it can be a challenge. But I'll work with you. Whatever your skills are, I want to figure out what we can do to make caregiving easier for you.
Right. Because every tip there just adds to then your ability to give more time.
Yes.
Like you say, it's nice to have that respite break, which is so critical. And people just, for some reason, feel so guilty about that. But that's what the person that you're caregiving would want you to do.
Exactly.
But they don't realize that.
Yeah, and have those conversations early. Even if nobody has a dementia diagnosis, talk about that now. And maybe you don't want to talk about, what's ahead with dementia. Maybe it's really hard to talk about if I'm in a wheelchair and I can't feed myself and I don't know who anybody is. That might be a really difficult subject. But maybe instead of just talk about, hey, as my spouse or partner, if it ever comes to the point where your health is in jeopardy because you're trying to keep me at home and care for me, I want you to do what's best for you. And just to get that permission from the person while they can still talk about it, to say, yeah, I know that right now that he has dementia, he's like, no, I'm not going anywhere and nobody's coming in here, but back when you had those conversations, you knew it was okay to give these things a try.
Yes.
So let's get the support that you need.
And we're big advocates of advanced directives. It's just let people, those are priceless. We've talked to so many people who have said, thank goodness we wrote that down. So thank goodness we had the conversation, because then it made it very easy to go, well, that's what they wanted.
Yep.
So now we can, rather than questioning and just all the guilt that goes with those questions, we've talked about that.
I have a MOLST or a POLST.
POLST,
Sorry, in Minnesota it's a POLST. In Maryland it's a MOLST. I have a POLST, Physician's Orders for Life-Sustaining Treatment. I'm 46. I have one because there are certain things that I want and I don't want. And so everybody over the age of 18 should have one. But definitely, if you are getting a little older, if you've had some health problems, if you are getting a dementia diagnosis, things are inevitably going to change. So what would you want? And that's just a very simple piece of paper that gives the doctors a little bit of information. That's very, really helpful on what your wishes are.
Yeah. Well, especially next of kin, spouses and other ones, you're going to be asked, what should we do? We have a choice here. We have a fork in the road.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? And I tell you, I've talked to so many people that have been people that don't have the advanced directives or don't have the plan. It is traumatic that they have to make these decisions, and time's of the essence sometimes in those decisions, and they really struggle. Where the people that have talked about it, it's a hard conversation to have, but it's such a freeing conversation.
It is. Maybe because my mom's a nurse. Like, we talk about this stuff all the time. I grew up talking about it. And I come from a very small town community where we know everybody. I mean, I started going to funerals when I was 8, and I've gone to hundreds of funerals in my life where somebody else may not have ever been with somebody who's dying, who they just don't understand what that's about. But yeah, I think that there is a lot to be said about talking about things, and specifically dementia, because many people make those advanced directives and those, living wills. They're always thinking about the mega car accident that might happen. What would I want? What would you do? But they don't think about a debilitating and fatal and progressive disease. They're not thinking about how their quality of life is going to be different at different stages of this, and what do they want? I have some patients who say they want to live to 103. Wonderful. I'm going to support you with that. And we're going to do everything we can to keep you as healthy as can be. And then I have, for example, my mother, she does not have dementia, but she had a father with Alzheimer's. And as a nurse, she has said, if I get dementia and I am anxious, or if I don't really know what's going on anymore, or I don't know who people are, even if I have a urinary tract infection, do not treat it. So she is very clear with me as her daughter, and I have permission to know what to do, because I hear many times, and I just witness it so much, that making decisions for another person is so difficult.
Yes.
When they're not able to talk about it anymore, or they can't rationalize.
Right.
Sometimes I have spouses who are still trying to ask their loved one living with dementia what they want, which is great, but sometimes they don't have that reasoning and judgment anymore, and what they're wanting doesn't really add up.
Yes, and it can also contradict what they would do if they had the ability to say it. All right, it's time to wrap it up here, Amy. Thank you so much for being here. Amy House, owner and host of the Think Dementia podcast, for sharing education and resources on caring for someone living with dementia. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Please contact us anytime with questions or comments Regarding our conversation today, you can reach us anytime by voice or text 612-999-3426. Join us again next Saturday at noon for another broadcast, and thank you for listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. Until next time, please choose to live well.
See